Well, hello and hello and hello. Always like to do things in three because three has a magic quality to it, at least according to Nikola Tesla, and I'll take his word for it. A lot of examples of how powerful the number three is. So, hello, hello, hello. That's kind of sets the stage for this Tao Manifesting Tarot reading. It is the most unusual tarot reading I am aware of on the internet or anyplace else. And the reason is I want to communicate. I'm not here to impress you with my metaphysical knowledge. Don't care. What I'm here to do is to help you to manifest. Manifesting is the kryptonite for human beings, and God knows we need plenty of kryptonite these days. But to do that, you got to make the images from inside of you, from your own head, your own personality, your own spirit. You can't use a desktop, a laptop, a smartphone, certainly not AI. The energy flow is wrong. It's coming from someplace outside of you. You need to have it come from someplace inside of you going out into the world. You can't mess with that. It's not one of those things, well, yeah, that's what you're saying. Well, how's it working out so far, huh? The other consideration is because we follow that technical energy flow, getting your information from some sort of machine of one kind or another coming into you, we tend to be negative in our manifesting. We do it all the time. We do it from when we're very, very young up. It starts at about 3 or 4. We become to be aware of ourselves. And when that happens, then we start looking at other things in the world and start making comparisons. Can't help it. That's the way it works. Well, if you're doing it from technology, that is the stuff outside of you coming into you, as opposed to the creativity coming from within you going out, you tend to be negative. So if you look at your life, you're already manifesting, but you're doing it negatively. I can't have this. She doesn't like that. I don't. A lot of I don'ts, and you'd get I don'ts, and you go, well, see, manifesting doesn't work. Yeah, it is. It's working perfectly. You're the one that's the problem. And one of the things that is really obvious, wasn't in the beginning, is we're seeing how insidious technology is. It steals our spirit. It steals our intelligence. It steals our integrity. It steals our creativity. We have, in fact, a half a dozen studies over the past 40 years that show the more you get involved in the technology, the dumber you get. Less creativity. Kids going to kindergarten, just starting into school, almost 100% are very creative. You get to them when they get their PhDs, almost none of them are creative anymore. They're great at memorizing. Oh yeah, they can spit back the facts, but they can't think for themselves. So the more quote-unquote education we get, the dumber we get. And that's because it was set up that way. John D. Rockefeller, early 1900s, said that he wanted a nation of workers, not thinkers. And so he spent millions and millions of dollars to change our school system, to get us to become workers, not thinkers. He also screwed up our medical system, put us into pharmaceuticals as opposed to natural healing. He's done all kind of mischief along with a lot of other people. But the biggest thing that they've done is steal our spirit by stealing our creativity. And this is where the tarot comes in. I've done tarot for over 20 years. In my experience, I've never found it to predict a damn thing. Maybe I get close once in a while, but it's really not that good. And that's because tarot, I have discovered, is the science of potential. You talk about having free will, that's what tarot does. It gives you a frequency to work with. And then you decide, how am I going to use it? So tarot, the science of potential. I also have done for 50 years numerology and astrology. Those are the science of cycles. There's a predictive quality to them, but not nearly as sophisticated as we have been led to believe. There's a mix and match all over the place, and there's cycles within cycles within cycles within. I mean, it's nauseous. It's just, it's crazy. But if you take time and look at the different cycles, you begin to see the possibilities. It's like astrology, numerology will set the table for you for a fabulous meal. And it's the tarot that's the fabulous meal. So in using these disciplines, what I can do is give you the opportunity to tune into that kryptonite that we all have and make your life better. Perfect? No. Life is still a four-letter word. It ain't going to be perfect, isn't designed to be perfect, and shouldn't be perfect. The imperfection is what helps us to grow or breaks us, our choice. So today's Tao Manifested reading talks about chaos and conflict. That basically is the theme of the world. It is an absolute shit show. Absolute. Now, what that does in part is relate to us what a shit show each and every one of us is. In the New Testament, and I'm not preaching religion, but Jesus says you cannot serve two masters. It's either God or money. We've chosen money. And so that's all you get. And even now, that's being taken away from the masses. So you don't even have that. You were lied to, have been lied to all of your life. And as Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool somebody than to convince them that they have been fooled to begin with. There's human ego. No, you couldn't do that to me. No, nobody could fool me. Yeah, they can. They're pulling your pants down, and you don't even know they're doing it. So the focus today is the chaos and the conflict, how you can work your way through this kind of craziness that we call life in 2025 and beyond. And this is not just a call to arms. This is a bright red neon light. We are at the edge. People like Bill Gates, people like Elon Musk, people like the World Economic Forum are telling us by 2030, man, we're going to be plugged in, and that ain't going to be a good thing, man. You're going to look like a Borg out of Star Trek. You ain't going to be a human being anymore. Jobs, they're gone because they're going to go to robots. They're already headed that way. They don't need us anymore. And you can see that. You can feel that every single day. So you need your kryptonite. So let's take a look at the chaos and conflict, but from an astrological point of view. This is called Astrologic Karmic Deja Vu, and I'm doing a series of stuff on the conquest of America, because talking about the conquest of America in this time period means the conquest of the world. So I'm pulling out parts and pieces and connecting the astrological feelings from a given period and bringing them forward. Remember I said cycles upon cycles upon cycles? Well, we're going to start looking at those cycles more intensely. And so this time around in the conquest of America, let's talk about the Magna Carta, which has directly nothing to do with the United States, it would seem. Not true. Now, for a large number of the people who are viewing this or listening to this, I would be willing to bet that you are ignorant enough to not know what the Magna Carta is or was. It was written in 1215, a long time ago, in Britain. And what it was a Declaration of Human Rights. In fact, parts of it became part of the American Declaration of Independence and Constitution. It was a profound document. 1215, here's what it was all about. The bankers, the people who charged money for lending money and ended up owning countries. Well, first cities and then countries, and then kings kicked them out, and then they played the game somewhere else and they got kicked out again for the same thing, and then they played the game somewhere else, they got kicked out for the same thing. You think they learn, but they don't. So in 1215, the noblemen, as they were called, and I use that as a euphemism these days, they went to the king and said, hey, we got to stop this crap. We got to stop this. These bankers are killing us. and was also hurting the king. They were broke. So in 1215, they set up this Declaration of Human Rights, and part of that declaration was kicking the bankers, the Jew bankers, let's be honest, the Jew bankers out of England. In fact, they were kicked. They have been kicked out of more than 200 countries in their history, and at least 1,000 times. So everywhere they go, the same crime happens. They steal the money. They try to run the country, and the king or the people would ever throw them out. So in 1215 AD, we had Saturn conjunct Uranus. This is a very hard aspect. It's a push-pull aspect. Saturn wants control. Uranus wants to run. Saturn wants control. Uranus wants to run. And so you saw there, in legalized form, the Saturn part of it, they made this Declaration of Human Rights, the Magna Carta 1215. And what they did was revolutionize the human definition, if you will. Not banking, because the damn bankers went right back to it. They never changed, never lost a beat. But 1215, they said that's enough is enough. The Saturn conjunct Uranus gave them a chance to put down legalese. So this is the new deal. This is where we're going. 1715, 500 years later, because the Saturn-Uranus conjunct Uranus cycle runs about 500 years. 1715, they started to break away from the British bankers. They had taken over Britain. They did that by giving the King of England money for a war. Wow, what's new? But in return, they wanted to set up the Bank of England. That was the name they wanted to use. And the royalty, nobody had anything to say about it. It was the Bank of England, but it was a private bank. And in 1715, the Boston Tea Party and other things, taxation and all that stuff going on, America started to break away from the British bankers. So the Magna Carta, they started to break away from the European bankers. 1715, they started to break away from the British bankers. And then the shit really hit the fan. And that's stuff that we'll look at later on down the road. But it gets real stinky from here. Quickly. We have a situation here. I'll tell you what it's set up. John Kerry's daughter says, you know this world plan for a world order? Guess what? Billions of humans must die for the new world order. She won't be one of them. She's not volunteering. But as I've said, you got the World Economic Forum, you got Bill Gates, you got the Georgia Stones, among other things, saying 95% of us have to be dead by 2050. Big stuff. And there's a problem, at least as far as they're concerned, because apparently Donald Trump is such a wild card, he's threatening to destroy the New World Order. This, according to someone who you can absolutely trust, Mr. Rothschild. The people who are the creators of the problem, the people who have been kicked out of more than 200 countries around the world for a total of 1,000 times. In fact, that's why they want Putin. Putin kicked out the Rothschild bankers when he took over in early 1990s. And they're pissed at him. And they want to take him down hard. We'll talk more about that as we get into the history. And we talk more about the idea of the conquest of America. But believe me, it's here. So let's move on to the tarot then. The moon. The moon is fear because nothing is tangible. You can't really see things. We know stuff is going on behind the scenes. We know they're stealing from us. We know they're cheating us. We know they're manipulating us. We know they want to control us. Everything. In the meantime, they want to get rid of most of us. We know that. But the moon says, I can't connect all the dots yet. I'm still lost. Not a good position. It is better to take that fear of the unknown and activate your intuition. That's what you're going to need. Second card is the Three of Wands. Three of Wands talks about pursuing the unknown. Yes, you're afraid. Yes, you're not clear. There's a lot of chaos and conflict in the world. It is a shit show. But you can't wait for all the parts and pieces to fit. We're out of time. We are out of time. At the most, the singularity will hit by 2030. They'll push it. So, We have to have a vision of the future. We have to pursue the unknown in spite of our fears. That's what we have to climb over. That's what we have to get over. And the final card is, if we can do that, we can do magic. If we cannot perform this magic on our own, stand up for ourselves, stand up for our humanity, fight for what we not only just need but deserve, we're in big trouble. Because the power is percolating. Either we initiate or it will be initiated on us. Chaos and conflict, just indications in terms of what we have still ahead of us and whether we have the courage to take on, pursue the unknown. That's what makes it so very difficult. So, that being the case, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it more than words can say. You mean a lot to me. That being the case, please like and subscribe. I'm only going to tell you one time this time around. Like and subscribe. We need to lean on you. So, between now and the next time we manifest tarot together, peace and blessings.